Cavemen weren't just grunting brutes hitting rocks together all day. The reality of Stone Age life was far more sophisticated and surprisingly organized than most people imagine. But before we dive into their daily routines, there's something about their work schedule that might completely change how we think about ancient life. Most hunter-gatherer societies, including our Stone Age ancestors, worked roughly 15 to 20 hours per week to meet their basic survival needs. That's less than half of what many people work in industrial societies. But here's where it gets interesting. What exactly were they doing with all that extra time? The morning routine of a typical Stone Age family began before dawn, but not for the reasons most people assume. They weren't racing against predators or desperately searching for food. Instead, they were taking advantage of the coolest part of the day for one of their most important activities, tracking. The soft earth and morning dew revealed footprints and signs that would disappear once the sun heated the ground. But tracking wasn't just about following animal prints. Stone Age people could read the landscape like a detailed newspaper. A bent twig told them which direction an animal was traveling and how fast. Disturbed leaves revealed how long ago something had passed through. Scat indicated not just what animal left it, but what that animal had been eating and how healthy it was. This information determined whether they would hunt, gather, or move to a different location entirely. Once tracking was complete, the day's activities split along surprisingly specialized lines. While some members focused on hunting, others engaged in what archaeologists now recognize as sophisticated resource management. They weren't just randomly picking berries or digging up roots. Stone Age people practiced controlled burning to encourage the growth of useful plants, selectively harvested to ensure future availability, and even engaged in early forms of cultivation by replanting certain species in favorable locations. The hunting itself reveals another misconception about ancient life. Most people picture cavemen charging at woolly mammoths with crude spears, but the reality was far more strategic. Large game hunting was relatively rare and required elaborate planning that could take weeks. The majority of their protein came from smaller animals, fish, and insects, sources that were more reliable and less dangerous to obtain. But here's something that might surprise everyone. Stone Age people were master chemists. They didn't just eat whatever they found. Many plants required complex processing to become edible or safe. Acorns, a staple food source, contain toxic tannins that must be leached out through repeated washing and boiling. Certain roots needed to be fermented for days. Some berries required specific preparation methods to neutralize natural toxins. This brings us to one of their most time-consuming but crucial activities, tool maintenance and creation. The image of cavemen using crude rocks is completely wrong. Stone Age tools were precision instruments that required incredible skill to create. A single hand axe might take several hours to craft properly, involving careful selection of the right type of stone, understanding of fracture patterns, and precise striking techniques passed down through generations. Even more sophisticated were their composite tools, spears, with carefully shaped points attached with plant-based adhesives, arrows with fletching made from bird feathers, and knives with handles wrapped in leather for better grip. Each component required different skills and materials, meaning tool creation was actually a complex manufacturing process. The afternoon hours often involved one of their most socially important activities, storytelling and knowledge transfer. But this wasn't just entertainment around a campfire. Stories contained crucial survival information embedded in memorable narratives. Epic tales about legendary hunts contained detailed information about animal behavior. Stories about journeys to distant lands included navigation techniques and seasonal patterns. Even seemingly simple folk tales carried information about which plants were safe to eat and which should be avoided. Social grooming was another major daily activity, but it served purposes beyond hygiene. Removing parasites and treating minor injuries were essential for group health. But the grooming process also reinforced social bonds and hierarchies. Who groomed whom and in what order reflected the complex social structures that governed these communities. Art creation was also a regular part of Stone Age life, though not in the way most people imagine. Cave paintings were just one form of artistic expression. They created intricate jewelry from shells, stones, and animal teeth. They decorated tools and clothing with complex geometric patterns. They even created musical instruments from hollow bones and stretched animal skins. The evening brought different challenges and activities. Food preparation was an elaborate process that could take hours. Meat needed to be properly butchered, with different cuts prepared in different ways for optimal nutrition and preservation. Plants required cleaning, sorting, and often complex cooking methods. Nothing was wasted. Bones became tools, hide became clothing, and organs were processed for their specific nutritional benefits. Fire maintenance was a constant concern that required dedicated attention throughout the day. Keeping fires burning wasn't just about warmth and cooking. Fire provided protection from predators, light for evening activities, and was essential for many tool-making processes. Creating fire from scratch was difficult and time-consuming, so maintaining existing fires was crucial. As darkness fell, the social aspects of Stone Age life became even more important. Evening gatherings weren't just about sharing food, but about sharing information. Hunters described what they had observed during the day. Gatherers reported on the condition of various plant resources. Elders shared knowledge about weather patterns and seasonal changes. Sleep patterns were also different from what we might expect. Stone Age people typically slept in two distinct periods during the night, with a wakeful period in between. During this middle-of-the-night waking period, they often engaged in quiet activities like tool repair, planning for the next day, or intimate conversations. The daily life of Stone Age people was actually a complex balance of survival activities, social maintenance, knowledge preservation, and creative expression. They were skilled professionals in dozens of different areas, from tracking and hunting to chemistry and engineering. Their days were full, purposeful, and required constant learning and adaptation. Rather than the brutish, simple existence often imagined, Stone Age life was sophisticated, socially complex, and required mastery of an enormous range of skills that took years to develop properly.